Warning, the following video contains some content which is unsuitable for a younger audience, such as the use of strong language and discussion of mature subjects. Also, I strongly condemn going after the users mentioned in this video to bully or harass them. Giving them constructive criticism is okay, but insulting them is not. With that out of the way, let the video begin. Greetings, Roaches Bag Sniffers. Among Gumpers here. Seems like we have yet another first half of the year where I've been dormant as all flump. When you're in a motivational drought and have previously been in a strong bit of depression in early spring, that's just kind of to be expected. With all that, it's time to feed a well-fed horse. Well, maybe you put a ginormous asterisk on that well-fed part. Yep, we're revisiting the realm of GoAnimate. Say what you may, but the service has left a never-ending supply of recycled drag-and-drop assets into one of the most formidable echo chambers which continues to this very day. Without them, we don't get Plotagon, Powtoon, YouTube Slideshow Creator, and even Gacha Life. Yes, I'm actually going there. The content from its users attracted tons of fans from various backgrounds. The format appealed to text-to-speech fans, animation fans, toddler TV tantrum throwers, and the cartoon elitists who have invaded DeviantArt with their fill-in image preaching. Plus tons more. For this video specifically though, we'll be covering a bunch of ranting prodigies. Of course, in typical fashion, they established a formula which made the process of writing considerably easier, thus resulting in nations full of ranters who were complete clones and indistinguishable from one another. Though, there's one critical detail that I've yet to see anyone bring up. A lot of the blame is put on the Go Beyonders for inventing this much overused format, but what if I were to tell you that they actually stole it from a community who later became one with that crowd? Yeah, this is a misconception that has almost always bugged me, seeing as I was into the bubble where this formula seemingly originated. Text-to-speech Begonia bubbles also house plenty of nearly identical rant typers, often opting to actually use a basic editing software and, of course, the Begonia program rather than a business-focused quick animation tool. Not exactly sure of its origins, but one of the earliest I found which matched close enough dates to early 2012, though I've seen others with a different structure from as early as 2010. And hell, I'm absolutely certain that this was an evolution of the default Windows Movie Maker text rants, which have been a part of YouTube almost since its inception. This exact style was also common with users in the same spaces, which further adds to my theory. Doesn't surprise me at all since the style was well behind its time. This naturally means that nearly all of them were full of homophobic and ableist remarks, whether that was the intention or not. Obviously, this is content I cannot recommend off that merit. Fortunately, most of the content we're looking at is going to be after this era. The few who still do are blatantly failed trolls who have nothing better to do in their lives, or somehow continuing to milk that edgy cow of whatever's left of it. Despite that fact, it seems to me that the writers got even lazier when constructing their critical copypastas. Early on at least, some of them actually bothered to give a mildly decent list of complaints and reasons for a thing they hated, regardless of whether those reasons held any weight or made actual sense. This goes in line with my theory that they were originally just more audio-visual versions of regular text-only rants. I guess eventually when the text-to-speech kids got into GoAnimate, the format was dumbed down and the insults they made went from first grade to daycare level real fast. A format already filled with immaturity somehow became even more so. How do you even manage to be even dumber than the ones who relentlessly used gay as an insulting adjective? Whatever. My main point here is that a plague of mediocre posers appropriated an already done-to-death formula and modified it slightly to fit what they so desired. I get recycling is good and all, but that doesn't apply to writing. While I'm glad copyright for written works isn't all too strict, it does raise the question of whether or not these exact rants fall under transformative fair use protections. Even then, the plagiarism isn't even the element I'm focusing on for this video. There's already a wealth of critiques on this exact topic, including numerous statements and parodies I've made in the past. We get they're unoriginal, but how about we get into the real meat of them rather than just the gravy? Lord knows where that shit's been. I've tried to choose the most tender material for this showcase, since on average these rants are just snooze fest and defy analysis. If a rant just has one gem of a moment, I still wouldn't consider it worthy of showing here. It's preferable the video have at least 3 golden moments for it to make the cut. This naturally also means a lot of skipping, something nearly all Go commentators seem to love and hate simultaneously for some reason. I mean, all their minds can think of most of the time is, "Can you explain why?" I'm also going to try and refrain from using multiple videos from the same channel or user unless it's for a different series. Believe me, we'll be seeing at least one of those in this rundown. The same thing will be applied to the topics themselves. You gotta have variety. One last heads up that is related to the credits, I often make sure to get the exact channel name for the video uploader. Many of these tend to come from channels who change their usernames every other week. The credited usernames will be accurate at least to when I wrote it down in the file name, and I don't feel like checking back and correcting the ones whose have changed. Once again though, harassing any of them is a huge no-no. Anyways, let's finally begin this long-ass failure adventure. What must our first video be?
Guys?
Oh, Dinko, I remember him.
I just want to let you know, I'm changing my rant from Devious Diesel to Polenta. Why? Because I felt like it.
Okay, all fair and good, but what's the relation between these two things? One's a villainous train, and the other is a cornmeal-based delicacy. Did you want to eat the train? My bet is that it tastes like charcoal, and ash, and fuel, and really stinky fanfiction.
But don't worry, I'll do a devious diesel rant in another day.
Where is it then, man? It's been 5 long years!
Anyways, enjoy. Polenta, more like Pashta.
Phew, dodged a Nerf bullet there. Wouldn't want to lose your potential revenue.
Oh my god, this food is the worst. It makes me want to choke whenever I eat it fast.
Yeah, like any other frickin' food. Rule number 7 of eating. Thou must not consumeth delectables too fastly. How is polenta any different, unless there's some mysterious force which makes you eat things quick? You might want to get that checked.
I think it's the shitty version of French fries.
Well, my brain cells went to poop.
I think it's... I don't know. I think it's a shitty version of French fries.
You don't even know if this is like French fries. Is there any trace of potato in polenta? Not in the research I've done, at least. It's not even French cut, so how can it even be that? Such a pointless bit, and the fact that this was a note in your slideshow causes more confusion, and maybe also delay. Oh, and I guess now you have the gall to say the shit word now. Little ponage music fan leet, go to your room for your crimes.
Why would my mom feed me those? Those are for babies.
As we all know, babies are fed tons of this polenta stuff. Are you saying that because you don't like it or something? Oh wait, why should I be surprised about that since they do that with TV shows as well?
Target.
Peanut butter and jelly sandwich is 1 billion times better than polenta.
Why yes, I prefer basic white elementary school lunch item over something more cultured. I just assumed you tried polenta this one time and that you didn't like how it was made. In that case, your rant is an unfair judgment on the whole food based on this one experience. But whatever, go and enjoy what you like, I can't stop you. Your reasons are still garbo though. Guess that wraps up our first- Whoa, wait a minute. Secret rant? Well damn, this was not something I was supposed to see. How is it a secret if it's a public YouTube video? You know what? Some things are better left unanswered. This one just out of convenience. Moving on, we have an arachnophobe to look at next. Check out that username though. Trains and Aviation of North Georgia. Oh boy, I would love to see their flying train explore the regions of Talking Rock.
Miss Spider's sunny catch friends. More like Miss Inoit's pair of whores.
Mr. What's pair of whores? And I'm not just saying that because I couldn't understand the first part. It really sounds like they called Miss Spider Mr. What.
Oh my freaking god, this show tends to be a riff of a bug's life.
Do you say this because it's a CGI show full of bug and insect characters? I mean, there are ants in the show, but they're just side characters. Also, I'm pretty sure they're a gay couple, just saying.
And trust me, they are even worse than the real spiders.
Well, that depends. Did Spiderus scar you mentally? I know he scarred me. Otherwise, what harm could they possibly inflict? Have you not seen an Australian spider? Those things will kill you.
You know who likes show?
Me.
You know who hates the show? Miss Spider sucks super ultra hard.
Well... that's not exactly an untrue statement, just not in the way the username suggested. So, what do we have next?
Bad words.
Whoa, this is some blatant theft. The avatar being used here is a recolored vector of the character Sig from the Puyo Puyo series. The video title refers to them as Mig, because subtlety be damned. Looks like they're a worker at the local piss and shit factory. Seriously, what is this color scheme? Anyway, let's see what Pig has to say about the naughty words.
No way. I would never search this thing like this in social media.
Such? And again, the choice of colors for Mig is distracting me. How can this walking, talking toilet bowl hate being a potty mouth? Okay, that's my last comment about the literal shit recolor. Oop, sorry, I have sinned.
The following bad words are the F word,
Frick.
the B word,
Biscuit.
the N word,
Newman? I'm sorry, pal.
the S word,
Spit.
and more.
Wow. I swear... Oh, wait, no I don't. I promise that I won't swear anymore. I said the word!
Your video is restricted if you type too many bad words.
Now that is unfortunately true, though it feels like something that's relatively easy to bypass. It typically only happens with the more explicit swears anyway, so unless you throw thousands of F-bombs in a minute, you should be okay. You probably just hate it because you're too young to watch this age-restricted content.
You can get arrested for saying racist words if your skin is white, and I will not say racist words. because I am white.
Don't give me that trash. Racism is bad regardless of skin color. You do not need to mention your race at all in this. I know wokies can be meanies, but lay off the id pole for a bit. Plus, who said you had to be white to get charged with a racist hate crime? Twitter isn't authority. Yet.
So, let's think how many likes or hates. 1 likes it and 6 hates it.
I don't know how your voting system works, but I'm not seeing a lot of fair representation. Though I should remember, these users are locked into echo chambers where personal expression is forbidden. You can't betray the clan's oath, lest you get called an infidel. I mean a bad user. To be fair, that's just most of modern social media.
Okay, I will eliminate bad words for good. Bad words is eliminated.
Oh fuck yeah. Bad words are no more. This means I can say that word now. Still, don't be racist.
And here are my upcoming rants.
You know, I have a feeling we'll cross paths again. I would love to see you eliminate COVID though. Americans seem to just want it to be an endemic like the flu. Okay, don't want to get carried away with my jaded views on our societal politics. How about we watch this classic from 2012?
SpongeBob SquarePants. More like SpongeBob ShitPants. This awful cartoon killed Nickelodeon and reincarnated it into a money-sucking shitfest of bland TV shows.
Alright, it is true that SpongeBob may have led to tons of changes with how Nick's animated shows are treated, seeing as The Loud House and Fairly Odd Parents to an extent have been the only other cartoons with a decent run since. It's a mess of corporate meddling from the network, though I can't necessarily blame the show itself for it. Only mention this since it's an issue the network continues to suffer from today. Please give Minimo's post some love.
Let's go through reasons why it sucks. The first reason is that SpongeBob himself has the most unimaginative name ever. I bet his creator was high on cocaine when he created him.
He may have a strange name, but at least it wasn't SpongeBoy like what Hillenburg originally called him, since that name was trademarked and more generic. Also had to cram in some drug war nonsense into this bit. Ugh.
Target.
Thirdly, the show is polluted with cliches. It's unbelievable. I don't understand what's so funny about parodying everything. It sucks cock.
Big difference between cliches and parodies. Like those are even bad on their own. You sure you didn't just mix this show up for Family Guy? Because SpongeBob doesn't do all too much reference humor. And what cartoon hasn't done parody? You can say they do it too much, but that's still pretty vague.
Fourthly, the show itself is overrated and has went on to become a multi-million-dollar franchise. I don't get it. What is so interesting about SpongeBob ShitPants? There is nothing interesting about him.
I mean, obviously that's your personal take, but could it be the writing, characters, humor, and overall charm of the show? Especially in its earlier seasons? Most successful things have reasons for their love and mass appeal. Except for The Loud House, that's big for all the wrong ones.
Ren and Stimpy can kick his irritating ass any day.
Wait until you find out about the creator's record. This part's become real dated due to this. Yeah, I know there's more to Ren and Stimpy than its predatory inventor, but it had to be said.
And the final reason is that it's the only show that Nickelodeon cares about. I thought that they cared about Ren and Stimpy, Cat Dog, Salute Your Shorts, all that, Double Dare and all those good shows. But in 1999 they said fuck it and they fucking presto SpongeBob ShitPants entered the scene and killed all the other Nickelodeon characters.
As I said earlier, this is somewhat true with how the network favored his show over most other Nicktoons before and after. I still find this point to be a bit flimsy, mainly with the examples you gave. Ren and Stimpy and Salute Your Shorts ended years before SpongeBob first aired, with the latter ending its reruns around that time. All that and Cat Dog still continued on into SpongeBob's peak, even though the latter had been relegated to Nicktoons after 2001. But if there's one thing that bothers me most about all this, why didn't you give respect to my man? This is the only part of my shirt that matters.
Target.
Sweb East. Now, I'd better find the nearest space shuttle and take off to Mars, because I can hear the sounds of rated SpongeBob SquarePants fan.
Well, I guess that came alright, because the video was apparently hit with an age restriction. Hope that doesn't mean this showcase will get hit. Oh wait, Mig was right all along, I suppose. Rule of thumb, no swears in the description allowed. Useless facts aside, this is objectively the best rant we've seen so far, even with how nostalgia blind it truly is. You know what I said about these rants being dumbed down over the years? This puts that all into perspective. For this next one, I feel like mixing it up and covering a salute for a change. Make no mistake, the format is largely unchanged from the rants, only this time it's a positive spin. Sometimes we need a bit of that, but don't get into pure toxic positivity like the Infinity Train worshippers. Sadly, I'm anticipating very blind praise from this one.
Inside Out? Wow, this movie rocks. This movie is about 5 emotions, and they like to go on wonderful adventures together.
You see? Now that the media is good, the adventures are wonderful and not failures. Ah, good old biased convenience.
Joy reminds me of Marge from The Simpsons.
Oh, I get it! Because both are yellow with blue hair. Splendid observation there, kid.
Sadness reminds me of Dory from Finding Nemo, Stitch from Lilo and Stitch, and Sally from Cars.
Because like sadness, they are blue. Really? Is this all just down to cosmetics?
Disgust reminds me of Wallflower Blush.
You know, I can kinda see that. Is it just because she also has green hair though?
Fear reminds me of O From Home.
Their shades of purple and body shape don't even match that well. Oh great, now you got me doing the looks game.
Anger reminds me of Lightning McQueen from Cars, and Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob SquarePants.
Because he's cranky and very hard to please. Also, they're all red.
And Bing Bong reminds me of Patrick from SpongeBob SquarePants.
You know, I could think of a good many characters who remind me of other ones. Keswick reminds me of Rocco. Panic reminds me of Fraz Flob, who reminds me of Swanky. Max reminds me of... Max. Plucky Duck reminds me of Jay. Newman reminds me of Red Guy. Thick! Oh, and also Green Alien Goober. Jokes aside, there's far more to characters than how they look and appearance. Using this same property, I'd say that Jay has a good amount in common with cheerful characters such as SpongeBob, Wander, or Bessie from Mighty B. Ironic that third one since Amy Poehler, who voices Joy, produced that show and also voiced Bessie. That may be natural because of the fact they're emotions, but they aren't necessarily one-dimensional either. Throughout the movie, it shows that the emotions are capable of expressing other feelings rather than the ones they're named after. Of course, that's because it's just an abstract visual metaphor, but it gives the characters more depth to life and relatability. You don't seem to get that, unfortunately, and only mention other characters relative to their position on the color wheel. I didn't even expect much, and you still dropped the ball.
These backgrounds are brilliant, animations are fun, music is awesome, and songs are wonderful.
You see, that's how I was expecting you to describe the characters. It's basic and surface level still, but it tells me more about why you like the movie. It's still too surface level though. But why should I be expecting Shakespeare?
Do you know who likes this movie?
The word me.
And me. They agreed with me.
You agreed with yourself, or is me its own entity?
Do you know who hates this movie?
Judging by who you're including, it just seems to be of things and users you dislike. It's pretty standard with this format though, so I'm just stating the obvious. I got nothing more else to say for that one. Now, let's get back to the real rants.
Before I start this rant, did anyone who likes this video game console please respect my opinions back?
Leapfrog is a video game console? I know there's the Leapster, which fun fact was one of my earliest exposures to gaming, but Leapfrog is the company who made that. Yes, I know the ranter admits to flub up right after this, just something that had to be pointed out.
Leapfrog? More like Deep Frog.
That's an unfortunate name you chose. At least it rhymes with your word crimes featuring Grimes.
Cringe.
This console and series is stupid, and even toys.
Dinko forbid you forget the toys, those are the worst.
Well, this company involves DVDs, games, and even educational stuff.
Wow!
Wow. That is not so ridiculous at all.
Yeah, it's not so ridiculous at all. They're a company who specializes in educational toys and media for young children, of which there's plenty of. We get it. You and other like-minded users have a problem with any media made for an audience younger than 6 years old. How people actually forget to understand its purpose at an older age when they were kids themselves baffles me to no end. It's not even a cool thing to hate after your early school years, especially not irrationally. Sadly, since this rant seems to have been made by a grown adult, I don't see that mindset changing.
Well, the animation is crap. The music is so, awful, when the toys usually do that. And the characters Tad and Lily and Scout, well, they're dumb.
How can they be dumb if they teach you crap? Some of it actually useful. Education is a mess for sure in America, but they can't be that stupid.
So I hope this company will never be blocked like any companies in the world.
What a self-defeating wish of yours. Seeing as you look to hate this company for being what it is, I'm surprised you're against them being blocked or whatever. The choice of words made absolutely no sense, and it's making my remaining brain cells jump around like House of Pain.
So, do you know who likes it? Elmo from Sesame Street. I hope he likes Leapfrog so much, but he can't because he's way too old to play video games like one of these consoles.
Way too old? Isn't Elmo in the show's canon the equivalent of a 4-year-old child in Sesame Street? That about sounds like the target age for some of their media and products. Like his age can even stop him from playing games made for Leapfrog devices.
And do you know who hates it? Me!
Oh, my sweet Welch's bags. That profile pic immediately looks like it's going to truth me about flat earth from the comfort of his truck. Not joking, this looks like the stereotypical truther boomer you see on Facebook. As for including yourself on the hate spot, damn that's lazy and pathetic. In all honesty, the idea of including a segment where either you, a random media character, or friends and favorite creators of yours say they hate something sounds very unnecessary. The only use for it is insecure validation, which is not healthy.
Because, I like everything but video games as much as they do.
Especially if your reasoning makes my head spin violently. Yeah, you like video games just like this company. Where are you even trying to go with this? I would fault the lack of a script, but I'm certain I'd still be confused even if he used one.
Target.
Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, and the Wii U console are way better than leapfrog consoles and series. And a rant.
First of all, Wii U? What's that? Secondly, what's with there being 2 Nintendo consoles here rather than also naming the PS4 or something? Maybe it's less biased since you may not own that but have the others, but it's a bit strange. Really though, I'm just nitpicking. And finally, way to compare educational consoles aimed at kids to proper game systems which offer more for just about every audience. It's an asinine comparison with how different their purposes are. Sure, they may both be games and entertainment, but the demographics and purpose are basically opposites. You know, since I just got done schooling someone about the purpose of those, I am reminded of that talking Smiley who I covered last year who pretty much did the same. Does this mean... No! God damn it! Fuck. I gotta talk about this condescending chungus again. Note, this is a proper Beyond style rant. What exactly makes this proper? It is essentially the same exact tired format with a lot of the same worst elements. Yeah, I've already gone over this exact problem in my commentary. I thought the clips from this video would speak for themselves, but here I am deciding to go into detail since it much deserves my actual input. If this can save me from having to talk about this at a later date to bring back the banana alien or some other thing, I'll consider this pain to be cathartic. Not doing this any other times though, at least not with this guy.
Anyways, let's get started. And just a reminder, I am replacing Jay Kizer to I Now Hate My Past Avatar videos. Why? Because Jay Kizer apologized to Funtime Gamer 74. Well, then, let's start this rant.
I now hate my past Avatar videos? Or how about more like I now like my past Avatar videos? Oh, my gosh. These types of videos are a disaster.
I won't repeat myself on how the formula is exactly the same as the usual, just with questionable paraphrasing. What I don't get right out of the gate is how this is even worthy of a rant. I'm likely out of the loop, since I'm not in the echo chamber these Beyonders dabble in, but what urgency was there in ranting about one of the many usual forms of video spam y'all litter on the site? All these amount to, from my guessing, is a simple opinion change. Self-deprecatory and pathetic, maybe, but seemingly harmless. I must know your thought process, Mayro.
It involves a user hating on his or her avatar. I am going to explain reasons why they suck. First of all, these videos contain users giving invalid reasons why they should hate their earliest avatars.
What kind of LGBTQ denial level bullshit am I even hearing? In the case of these past avatars, the channels don't even need a valid reason to justify disliking them. Some things just aren't worthy of the overly critical aura which has been looming around this site for years on end. My older rants definitely reeked of that. Speaking of avatars, Burger King was a terrible choice. He looked like a creep, and I got a message in 2015 that I believe mistook him for Jesus. Back on topic though, you asserting that their reason is invalid is downright disrespectful, regardless of how immature the person is handling it. You may criticize them for their reaction or how pointless they can be, but not for shit like this where it's none of your beeswax. No one likes being talked down to.
Second of all, they show that they are criticizing themselves and telling stuff about themselves and their bad actions in a past from a week to a few months ago. No offense to them, what they are doing is just stupid.
You heard that right. Owning up to your past mistakes or just stating personal regrets is now stupid. I'll take woke scolds ignoring sincere apologies for others' mistakes over this. Okay, that may be a stretch, but that statement actually pisses me off. All you're doing is encouraging your audience to hold in their feelings about things and not take responsibility, which is some actively harmful advice.
Third of all, these users believe that past avatars exist when they don't, especially in real life.
I hate that I have to explain this to you, but past avatars are indeed a thing. Don't know about you, but I think you're taking this a bit too literally. Then again, with how delusional those ilk can get, maybe they do believe they exist in reality. I don't want to mock them, so I wish they get help.
Fourth, they plan on making revenge movies out of their past avatars. But why would you do that to your avatar that didn't do anything from the past when you actually did?
This really is just turning into a South Park episode, and I'm me with the claim they're gonna make movies about it. Literally no citations needed, since apparently your in-group is already aware of everything. For us outsiders though, it requires context. This isn't universal knowledge or anything. I'm not the best when it comes to giving context, but I expect better than this.
Fifth, these videos can increase drama, and no one wants to let that happen.
The only drama that would be inflicted was if someone like you was getting all nosy and talking down to them for their decisions. I can't view you as a saint in this situation. If anything, you seem complicit.
Sixth, hating on your past avatars can make you a hypocrite when a Vyond-made avatar didn't do anything.
You said already that these avatars didn't do anything. You really don't need to hammer that point in. Still haven't got the hint, I suppose. I shouldn't be this harsh when this was released 2 years prior to my commentary.
Seventh, users make new avatars to get people to stop hating on them as a stupid excuse, which seems obvious they cannot handle hate. And even worse, that can increase your hate base.
Of all the points so far, this is the only one I can get behind. Indeed, there are plenty who try hiding behind a different avatar or alias as a means to try and fix or restart their reputation. This can ironically lead to a worse rep, especially if it's insincere or obvious they're trying to evade something. I however don't like how you're treating many's issues with dealing with hate like it's some major flaw. If you're getting bombarded with it and aren't used to this sort of thing, I can understand how some may act the way they do. That's of course if they aren't trying to deny or downplay the situation at hand if it's serious enough. Even still, the pressure can really harm some mentally. Probably just my understanding of the issue, but I really don't like how you express it.
And eighth, these videos make the users, who made them, like to go on failure adventures on social media by suffering from internet fights and YouTube dramas.
You just had to inject that dumbass phrase into the very last reason, didn't you? What kind of adventure are they even having from all this? That's a sincere question.
I hope these videos get discontinued soon, and I hope they can get these users a community guidelines strike.
How do these, of all things, warrant getting a community guidelines strike on their own? As I've said before, this shouldn't be involving anyone other than the user themselves. Maybe it'd count as spam, but I could say the same with any variation of the simple image or text video, and your Classic Chupo edits. Since you didn't make that point and are closely tied to those users though, I know that wasn't on your mind.
Do you know who likes these types of videos? Spider-Man Fanatic 2018, aka Fazbear Catch 2003.
Are you sure this isn't the one which should be removed by community guidelines? Since you name dropped some random user on the matter. It may technically be appropriate, but the intentions don't look good.
He likes these videos to get away from his bad actions, but I can handle his opinion on them.
This man does this to get away with stuff, but hey, his opinion on them is totes okay by me. Looks like another cell phone from the ranting bubble.
Do you know who hates these types of videos? Salt and Sala Productions. He was the first one to make a rant video out of them. And I bet he flags them all and gets these users a community guidelines strike.
Guess it's better you're sort of giving the benefit of a doubt, but all in all it's still a bold assumption to think they treat them as the threat you see them as.
I made user videos are 1 million billion trillion gazillion infinity googleplex times better than these types of videos.
Man, the inner machinations of your mind are a complete enigma. I couldn't even make sense of it even if I was in your little club.
This is my end of rant.
And this is my end of brain cells.
Poop. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I will be showing you my next rants on the list. Goodbye.
Okay, putting aside the oxymoron that is freehand animate, no internet access. I must ask, what material would you get out of this beyond the obvious fact that our society is relying on the internet nowadays, so an outage is like being cut off from the world? Despite how smart you try to sound, I know you aren't going to go that deep. I may have been unfair on my original commentary, but I don't know about this one yet. Only time will tell though, as I usually look back on many of my past comments with regret. If this is what a proper Vyond style rant looks like, I take the less pretentious variety so much more, thank you very much. I just need something much more simple for my brain to unwind. Trashing Pippa Peg should do the trick.
I changed my haters to Peppa Pig.
Wait, why? Is it because you like to view your detractors as being pink pig whistles? Oh, Gumper, that sounded wrong. Okay, let me rephrase that. Is it because you think that'll make hating them more satisfying? You know, in a similar manner to that cliche where you imagine the audience in their underwear to get over your fear of public speaking? Okay, that still sounds wrong. I give up. Why did you change them all to Peppa?
Why? Because I am too lazy to watch my haters rant.
Well, I've never heard of someone who was this lazy that they couldn't watch a rant they completed, assuming it was actually done. Rewatching it is like the easiest and most satisfying part of it all. How can that be possible, especially with how short these usually are? Actually, I'm chalking that down to incorrect grammar and word choice. At least I hope.
Enjoy.
Yeah, I better. If I don't, I'd be factory settings.
Peppa Pig. No, more like ours pig. Spoiled pig. OMG. This show sucks at hard.
Somehow the things I said sounded less wrong than those last 3 words. Blech.
Peppa's a pitch.
I mean, they were pitched to a network, so that's true.
Peppa Pig sounds to a bear like a Ben and Holly.
Perhaps this shouldn't be that surprising when the same company created both Ben and Holly and Peppa Pig, and naturally feature a lot of the same voice talent. You might be saying they sound too close to be distinct, but I really can't tell.
George is a crybaby. George crying too much like a crappy 9009. Mommy Pig is 8 moms as whole life than Peppa. I hate it when it's shed.
Man, I too hate it when it's shid. The English jumble in Rant really by hurting cerebrum right now.
Daddy Pig. Nobody craps about him. Not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or infinity.
No one did the crab walk for Daddy Pig. This is so sad. Do it for him. Do it for him.
I hope this show got cancelled. Oh, my best start our Suze's got. Do you know who likes this show? Evil Sonic.
There is technically already an Evil Sonic in the games, though I guess Poop Rat will have to do. Actually, this might really be Metal Sonic, but after a decade of being left out and rotting in the Rust Belt.
He joins the cast when Peppa has sex with him. But there is only Hedgehog without penis, not a pig.
Should I call the authorities? Because Sonic and Peppa are literal freaking children. Don't give me that bullshit, Google. He's literally 8. That was the wrongest sentence I've ever heard. The whole thing just screams, why? This makes the crap I said at the start sound normal.
Do you know who hates this show? Me. I am furious. I am never watch it. He is a pitch.
You're so furious about the show that you not only said you never watched it, but also became invisible. Well, that makes 3 of these rants so far where they just placed themselves into it. Lastly, he? That's grade A pronoun trouble.
So screw you, Peppa Pig. Bye, Peppa Pig. See you in hell.
If the rain isn't acidic, this means nothing.
And screw Eraser. If you like him, I will respect your opinion.
Is it worth the risk of being pooted on? Had no clue you were just in disguise. The fart isn't even reverbed. 0 out of 10.
Sonic the Hedgehog is forever times better than Peppa Pig and Eraser. End of rant.
Why yes, my favorite number is forever. Could say infinity, but I don't want to get sued by the car brand. Fuck it, back to food.
Smarties? More like farties. Oh my gosh, these sweets suck. These sweets are huge rip-offs to M&M's, which are so many times better than them.
Well, I guess the M&M's have the marketing advantage. And the sex appeal. But are the British Smarties really knockoffs? Time to do 2 seconds of research. Okay, so not only did I find out that Smarties weigh a decent amount more than regular M&Ms, they were also invented 4 years prior to them as well. If anything, M&Ms are the cheap American knockoff, no doubt gentrified. We Yanks even had the bright idea of stealing the name for an unrelated candy, and then giving it a registered trademark preventing the real ones from being sold. What can I say? The conflation of strict trademarks and corporate capitalism fucking suck. Maybe we were too mean to you Brit bongers. Then again, Brexit happened, so... Plus, Nestle makes them. Hope you're okay with slave labor, Brits.
I wish these sweets got discontinued. I don't know who likes these sweets, but do you know who hates these sweets? M&M's official UK. He was the one who requested this rant.
Mate, I think you fell for one of those brand sponsor scams. This is blatant anti-Smarties propaganda and I would not stand for— oh, wait a minute. Wait just a darn second. The username doesn't look properly capitalized. The channel appears to only have 2 subscribbles. Their profile banner is one of YouTube's defaults. And the profile picture is— Cornholio? Beavis and Butthead look to be up to their harebrained schemes once again. The real question is, why did it have to be so obviously fake? Knowing how well industry plants are disguised now, it probably still is one.
So screw Smarties. And screw Jelly Tots.
Why would I want to screw them? Everyone knows that M&M's are the sexiest confectionery the world has ever— Bracket, you need to go to a doctor. I know, but the candy has such a curve to die for. You're supposed to avoid them instead, you dink. That's the only horny I can tolerate. Look, you do you, but I'm not gonna eat these sweets alive. They're far too savory for that. Bracket, you need to hop on the crazy bus. Oh, maybe you're right actually for a change. I must embrace the craziness. No, I mean you're going to horny jail. By school bus. Oh, flip, no! Crap, that stinger must mean this is real serious. You bet.
I have already talked about school buses and why it suck, until I found out that there's more reasons why school buses suck. So I'm going to tell you right now because it's part 2.
Okay, this makes no sense. Why did you share me this video when you're forcing me to take a ride in one of these things? And also, why part 2 specifically?
Trust me, he speaks a lot of truth. Now just watch the video so you can lighten yourself with knowledge. Non-horny knowledge.
Fine, but only if it makes you shut the up.
Anyway, enjoy. School buses. School buses are bullshit. Why? Because they're assholes, and they gave me barely enough time to do anything. And yes, I am a heavy sleeper, so that means in a 6:30 sharp, I still can't move any of my body parts until 15 minutes later.
If you are unable to shuffle your bones even an inch after 15 minutes of waking up, I think the real problem is laziness, or a poor sleep schedule. Also, how can the bus itself be an asshole? The driver and aide sure can be, as I've had my fair share of bad ones myself, but they've got to arrive to the school on time and pick up the students, among other tasks. There's an important human element you're forgetting here.
Then I found out it's a 6:50. I rushed to be prepared until the school buses came, and oh what the fuck. I forgot something. One or more things to be exact: my phone, my school device, which is really important, my hat, my earphones, my phone case, my jacket.
You know, I think the real issue is you being unprepared for when the bus comes, especially if you're forgetting such important items. Okay there, buddy. Because of how crunchy the audio got, I could only understand the ending where you said it was bullshit. But again, this feels more like a you problem. Man, the loud noise in that just rocked the bus all around. Ugh. Even the heebie-jeebies.
What pisses me off the most is the inside the bus. The bus driver has the balls to write names on the roof. Like seriously? What the fuck? That is creepy as hell.
Giving attendance is now on the level of writing a hit list. At least that's what I believe you're trying to say. This is some paranoia that also shows how uneducated you are about the purpose of writing the students' names down.
And there's more major complaints like that student always making disturbing stuff. Like you have saw in the beginning. Nobody can stop him from doing those diabolical shits. But then, this movement got stuck in my mind. And every time when I say, bus, this appears.
Edgar, I'm very concerned about your mental state. I can still make out what's going on with the distortion effects, and it does show up at the beginning if you pay attention. I'm just shocked you weren't caught recording all this, to tell you the truth. It appears that you're complaining about the one probably severely disabled student rocking back and forth in their seat. If it was just the implied ableist undertones, that'd be one thing. But because this is what you associate the word bus with, it just makes me all the more worried for you. Seriously, I hope you get help since these thoughts look to be scarring you mentally.
School buses are the most inconvenient thing transportation has ever made.
School buses sure aren't perfect, but compared to most other forms of public transport, it's like a cakewalk. The fact it's taking you someplace you need to go at a mostly reliable time schedule sounds convenient enough to me, though that's probably because schools don't usually suspend those who show up late when it's out of their control. But who knows, maybe I'm being too literal with your language.
School buses don't just suck. It fucking sucks. And so does
formless scribble.
Lenovo ThinkPad X220i is 9,000 times better than Hell Fuchs.
Hell Fuchs? What were we even talking about before? Oh wow, this swivel laptop is so much better than the bus fare. Like who cares, it's not relevant.
End of rant.
What in the Sam heck is this depressing broken carnival sounding credits theme? Edgar, where can I find these packs? The location, Venice, Italy. Why yes, I remember Venice being in Baltimore County. This music sounds nothing like San Francisco, unless it sums up how depressing that place can be. Stupid inflated property values.
Here's your stop bracket.
Wait, how does this even count as horny jail?
Look at the horrid graffiti, you Nimrod.
Aw, Top Hat Giraffe thing is my hero. If you wanted to punish me, at least take me somewhere that's actually shit.
Sorry, my bus tokens ran out. See ya, sucker!
Crazy bus, riding on the crazy bus, riding up, riding down,
I don't even want to know why that happened. But enough distractions. What's next on the menu?
Joe from Blue's Clues? More like James from Blue's Shit.
I don't know what the best part of this is. Is it that he sees James as a worse name than Joe? Or is it that something from Blue's excrement was given a name? Either way, it's a weird haha funny name for the guy in the show he's from. But if it is the former, I have plenty of words to say about James Biden, James Rogan, James Gran, James Mama.
Fucking bloody hell. This is the worst character ever from Blue's Clues. Cause you wanna know why? Since Steve left, things just weren't the same. Ever since Joe took over, the episodes became more repulsive and more repulsive and more repulsive and even more fucking repulsive.
Don't want to pull the explain card like nearly all typical Go commentators, but this really deserves some elaboration. If you took the effort to say the show fell off in your mind, meaning that it went to hell when Joe took Steve's position, you think that maybe at least one reason why he was such a worse host beyond it just not being the same would be given. Spoilers, he doesn't elaborate anywhere else beyond this point, at least in any meaningful way. But then I forget I'm watching a rant which uses a dumbed down format from an era when providing insight and reason were just optional, not even preferred.
Have I forgot to tell you that his name isn't Joe, and it's actually Donovan Patton? Wow. That's completely messed up.
I guess I can see the significance with this, as minor of a complaint this actually is. Steve in the original was named after the actual host, Steve Burns, whereas here Donovan plays a character who does not share his namesake. And, while not being relevant at the time this video was made, the name of the reboot's host held the spirit of the original in a way, as Josh is close to the actor's actual name, Joshua De La Cruz. It might be possible that the role was given to someone with a closer name to Joe first, but that casting was changed at the last minute and it was too late for the script to be modified. I'm just speculating here though, since show production is very complex. Perhaps I can see the problem for dedicated fans, but of all things to actually say about Joe being worse, this is nothing sauce.
And if you think that's bad, Donovan Patton also does the voice of this guy named a robot from Team Umizoomi, which is my most hated Nick Jr. show ever.
And Don's role in a show I hate most taints Joe even further. If that's the case, wouldn't that make the career of any actor tainted if by some chance they played a character you hated? Some of my favorite actors have played characters I personally don't like. Does that mean it's the fault of the actors and not the scriptwriters, the director, and or the production company? If you were to say that Don was a bad actor, hell even if you said the robot was also a bad character, perhaps then the point would be slightly more sound? But with what you're saying, it's purely trivial and doesn't contribute to Joe himself being a worse character, aside from personal bias.
I cannot believe that Joe would replace Steve, and it contaminated my childhood.
I swear to God, childhood must be the most fragile fucking thing ever if that dip in quality alone would just ruin that for you. Granted, you said it only contaminated it, but even with the severity being lower, it's still pathetic. Just watch the old episodes without Joe if you really can't stand the guy. Again, if you were to provide any meaningful reason for why Joe hurt the show as a whole beyond what you've said, it would make this rant so much better even if I personally disagreed. In my mind, a bad reason is still better than none.
And do you know who likes Joe and every shitty episodes of Joe? Theodore from Alvin and the Chipmunks.
When I saw the green chipmunk chungus in the thumbnail, I knew this was going to be a godly experience. Don't forget about the pizza toots.
He wishes he can join the cast for the reboot of Blue's Clues with Joe, but he can't because he belongs to Alvin and the Chipmunks.
You joke, but Nickelodeon does also air an Alvin-themed show on their channel, one which I'm surprised is still even going on. Then again, the show itself isn't actually an original Nick production. Otherwise, I've got nothing to add which I haven't already said about the mentioning of random characters you like or dislike.
Note, if you like this character, then I respect your opinion, but please respect mine back.
It's sad that this community at large needs to say this just about every time, because allodoxophobia is unified among them.
And do you know who hates Joe from Blue's Clues? Wacko Warner. He wants to kill Joe from Blue's Clues. So fuck Joe from Blue's Clues.
I don't think Wack would be on your side with that potty mouth of yours. Everybody knows that he's too innocent to use such crude language.
I thought you were in hell.
Okay, I stand corrected in that. But hey, Wacko clobbering Joe with a hammer sounds very satisfying and not sadistic, now don't it?
Ferdinand the Bull, the movie from Blue Sky Studios, is so many times better than Joe from Blue's Clues.
The SpongeBob SquarePants movie, The Sponge, the movie by Nickelodeon and Paramount Pictures, is such a great way to word that. But enough of my dumbassery. Now for something on a more infamous yet serious scale. Ugh, get your uncanny synthesized face away from me, please.
What's up guys? Yo boy J here, and welcome back to my rant series.
Wait, Jay? I'm Jay! Why must you tarnish my good name? Relax, lizard boy, there's nothing to be worried about. I have a bad feeling about that man. How come? Yeah, looks innocent enough to me. Learn to handle hate, jeez. I'll try.
This one will be on Coppa, aka the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. Anyways, let's get started. Coppa? More like crapper.
What's that stand for? Children's Rebellion Against Privacy Protection Act? Actually, that makes way too much sense since there's droves of underage users who are against this law. For what exact reasons? We'll have to wait and see with what else you gotta say. Unlike most Go commentators, I have some patience and don't demand you explain your points before you start them. But with that said, can you explain why?
Oh my god. This policy sucks. I will tell you reasons why this policy sucks.
Because if you don't, it wouldn't really be a rant, wouldn't it? Of course you're gonna provide your reasons for why you think the policy is sucky-wucky. That's what your viewers came to watch, not for you to add to a pointlessly poorly worded introduction. Oh, I forgot. You're not the typical ranter. Sorry, I'm in the wrong mindset.
1. It ruins fun for everyone.
It ruins the fun for the predatory data collectors who love to spy on and monetize those who shouldn't be vulnerable to this blatant evil of capitalism. What kind of fun could you, or anyone else who I hope isn't invested in collecting personal data from kids, have without Coppa directly handicapping you? Don't worry, I should find some answers shortly.
2. This act sued YouTube for violating Coppa by illegally retaining information relating to children under 13 years of age.
Firstly, it was the Federal Trade Commission who fined YouTube for violating already in place conditions of Coppa, demanding an overhaul of the law itself and imposed them especially to follow these new guidelines. Considering that they were indeed breaking the law beforehand, and arguably still are collecting tons of data from children even after the fact, I feel like it was much deserved. Say what you will about the negative impacts, but most of the blame can be directed at YouTube themselves or how deliberate they were in not giving in, and not the FTC who were more in the right. And secondly, if you were to acknowledge that the platform was doing a form of legal monetization, does that mean you simply don't care about that? Ignorance is not a defense here, and I think that everyone should educate themselves before giving out such uninformed takes on serious topics like what you're doing. We'll save you some of the embarrassment.
3. YouTube divides its content strictly to for kids and not for kids in response. Man, I wish I can start a protest against this act.
Yes, let's protest against this late 90s internet legislation because YouTube had to make changes to make sure they were compliant. This wouldn't have been such an issue if they weren't so reckless in the first place and didn't sell out tons of sensitive data from those they can't legally collect. There are things to speak out against the policy from the FTC's end, but if it's in blind defense for a corporation, that's inherently no good. Oh great, more terrifying android humans. Ugh.
4. Many gamers allege that the FTC of the United States tends to fine people $42,530 for each video that is mislabeled. Jesus Christ. That is so much money to the point where we become impoverished.
Oh, so now you speak out against poverty, you privileged fuck? Like you have any reason to be worried about this, since the fine is calculated by how much money a video has earned, and the math is sorted out from there. The $42,530 figure is pretty much the maximum fine a person may receive for a single violation anyway, meaning that it's not a fixed penalty. If you don't monetize or barely gain money at all, this shouldn't be worthy for the FTC to penalize you. This would likely be more of a concern for much more popular channels who are evidently targeted towards children and not no-names like the both of us. And as of right now, I've yet to hear a single instance of creators getting fined since this was put into place in January of 2020. Not to say you should be careless, but the stakes would be so low in most cases that legal action is unlikely to be pressed. Honestly, I'm more baffled by your source. Don't give gamers too much credit now for finding this out. 1, because YouTube said this themselves in an official statement, and 2, gamers are dumb as bricks.
5. On videos made for kids, comments are disabled, and saving videos to playlists as well. So I have to make videos as a replacement for comments. I mean, come on. What if the children want to watch videos later?
While it may suck that comment sections are permanently turned off for that type of content, is making a video of your own in response really the best way to express yourself? If they can be linked in the community tab, why couldn't you just comment about it there? Alternatively, you can post your thoughts onto another platform to get around this. Also, may I fill you in on a little secret? So, as you can see from my great taste in shows, I'm watching God-tier content. However, it is a kids video, as evident by the blacked out save icon, and this section is turned off for content made for kids. So normally you wouldn't be able to put this in a playlist, but don't tell anyone. But I've got a solution to this. So what you gotta do is you gotta search up the video, either in another tab or whatever. You can just look it up in the same thing if you want. Of course, no mini player, but that's the price you gotta pay. It's a very small one. And, you're gonna look for this little, like, 3-dot icon. This should display on mobile as well, so don't worry about that. Here you can save to watch later, or to a playlist. And, if you click this button, you can just add it to a playlist like this one, like Dinko, haha, and it'll be there. It'll be in the playlist. Just there. And that's what's surprising about that. Also, please do not ask why there's like 6 Brendan Rodgers videos in here. Like, please, stop the video! So yeah, that's my super secret solution. Please don't boot me off, Susie Wojak.
7. People don't like this update. Even Valeskadam 94.
Not a good look if your example is a really infamous cartoon clickbaiter.
8. Many YouTube channels such as Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, and Universal Kids have their entire content marked for kids.
Wow! Universal Kids has its content set for kids! If they didn't mark their content accordingly, those networks and studios would technically be breaking Coppa and would be the more likely ones to receive fines. While I personally don't like to separate most media as being just for kids, the fact is that public relations and parents groups disagree, and they hold a lot of power in those conservative viewpoints.
9. In kid-friendly videos. Autoplay on home. Cards and in-screens. Channel branding watermarks. Channel memberships. Comments. Donate buttons. Like and dislikes on YouTube Music. Live chat donations. Merchandise. Ticketing. Notification bell. Personalized advertising. Playback in the mini player. Super chat. Super stickers. And save to playlist and save to watch later are all disabled.
Seriously? Why would they disable the mini player?
Great, an unsettling robot face and an awkward pause.
I mean, what does it even do to offend children? That is probably one of the dumbest things YouTube ever did.
Now, I was initially confused about why it was disabled too, but then I remembered that nearly every feature of YouTube has a form of data collection attached to it. And because those videos are designated for kids only, the feature is forced off due to the possibility of them collecting data from that age group. It's still very flawed though, when you consider that it doesn't stop kids from watching content in the mini player for videos not affected, really showing how mismanaged the site is, and prioritizes its efforts on slimy and greedy data snatching efforts. A feature like that shouldn't do such, but big tech and capitalism's lack of regulation allow for such blatant greed to flourish. God, I really need to stop turning everything into an anti-capitalist rant.
10. On kid-friendly channels, they disable channel memberships, notification bell, posts, and stories. Really? Why would they disable notifications? What if children want to stay up to date on the newest content? YouTube hasn't even thought this through.
Well, I'd argue they have thought it through. At least we're trying to stay on the bright side of the law. It is an unfortunate side effect of Coppa, but really that's just a problem with YouTube promoting kids' content prior and parental puritans holding an unfair amount of power in dictating media in the States. No one under the age of 13, hell, even 16, should even have a social media account in the first place anyway. If only parents actually took responsibility instead of resorting to more totalitarian regulation, maybe this shitstorm wouldn't have fucking happened.
11. They also disabled the comments on my 33rd commentary video and my ops coping skill video out of patent. Probably because I used Arthur in my commentary, and probably because OPS Payton's voice is Ivy.
I took a look at the exact commentary you mentioned, just to check if what you said is actually true. And while the comments are indeed disabled, presumably due to the childlike voice of Ivy...
Ouch. At least this gay urine yellow Toyota broke my fall. Better than what my dad's piece of shit Ford F-150 can do.
The video can still be viewed in the mini player and be saved to a playlist the normal way. What you were affected by was a similar form of automated YouTube filtering, which disables comments on videos featuring a face or voice which they detect to be of a child. A few videos of mine were also hit by this incompetent autoflag system. In fact, the facial detection part of it was implemented months before the platform was even sued, largely based off of manufactured but reasonable fears of pedophile invasions. As annoying as that is, Coppa appears to have no role in your situation.
12. You are legally required to comply with this law. You're required to tell us whether your video is made for kids or not.
Wouldn't really be a law if you had the choice not to follow it. One free of consequence anyway. There is something to be said about how YouTube weaseled their way out of this and put the burden on creators, adding to the continual phasing out of safe harbor protections. But honestly, every company, at least in the United States, has been required to follow this law if they want to remain in business since it was introduced in '98. And even for how shoddily YouTube implemented this, what choice did the site even have? The FTC forced them to put this in place, or else they'd risk further penalties. penalties. Plus, at least in most cases you have a choice in what audience your videos are for. I say most cases because the machine learning trash can continues the long outdated status quo of all animated content being for children, despite how factually untrue that is. There's lots of reasons to crap on Coppa's effects on the site, but most of yours have either been weak or factually incorrect.
I don't know who likes this policy, but do you know who hates this policy?
Distorted Distractor, Naked Luigi, Fake Subscribe Button, Group B Rally Legend, Yazoo Fairs, Proud American whose favorite show is Canadian, Daniel Channel, and Beverly Hills Chihuahua. That's a stellar film cast, not gonna lie.
So screw Coppa. And screw kids' censored faces.
You should have put more thought into your word choice because, yikes, that sounds wrong.
Life as we go is so many times better than Coppa.
And even more so if what you're saying is better happens to be one of those family vlog channels. It's unlikely that this was intentional, but it really doesn't vibe well with me. Especially knowing the topic at hand and the fact that Kizer is in his 20s, really implying some predatory tendencies there. Yuck.
End of rant. Next rant. Dom's Classical Corner.
Unlike most of the randoms who get name dropped in all these rants, I decided to give this channel a little peek. I soon spotted a content review they made on you.
2. The characters' designs are too disgusting.
My dude, have you seen the problem solvers?
Unsurprisingly, it's very mediocre like most all GoComs, but I guess it's a diamond in the rough by their standards. I will say that I have learned some damning things about him from it. What in the sweet name of frick? Even if the pedophilic implications end up just being implied, the racist comments and threats you've made still permanently taint your reputation. Oh, why must the Lizard's Cave be so deep? Hide me from this disgrace of my name bracket. Geez, your ego must be just as fragile as his.
After the Dom's Classical Corner rant, Booba.
You do not disrespect the fat foreskin demons. They will smite you.
And after the Booba rant, panty and stocking with garter belt.
Wow, you hate booba, panty, stocking, and garter belt? Man, you're no fun. But enough with the cheap horny humor. Since I watched that video of Dom's, I would not be all too surprised if your hatred to the show partially comes from them using panty as their avatar in it. With how much trouble they often have separating shows from channel avatars, it feels like a distinct possibility.
4. Dom's Classical Corner used the angry panty picture to bully me. Man, if I ever saw Panty in real life, I will kick her in the mouth.
Well, what do you know? I was right. Since I'm already doing this research, I might as well just briefly discuss the channel itself, much to the dismay of the fellow neurotic wizard. I intended not to do this for any of the ranting masterminds, but my dinko, he's just that interesting of a subject. Also, honestly, I just wanted to wrap this up with a satisfying and worthwhile send-off. Jay's content is such a goldmine in general, even when viewed from the eyes of his own community. While far from the most prolific or known, he's one of the most infamous figures within the Go Beyond rapper posse. This is not even a new sentiment. Remember that the past Avatar video mentioned that a rant on Kizer was cancelled after an apology. That was in the middle of 2018, and he appears to have been fairly disliked since the beginning. And judging by the amount of response videos that have been done on him this year alone, he appears to be that one guy which everyone hates. When even the user I formerly thought was the biggest target for the most basic of Go commentators ranted on him, that says a fucking lot. And honestly, unlike Michael, the backlash at least feels more natural and justified, even if it's still woefully exaggerated and immature as always. Granted, expecting rational discourse within this space is beyond unrealistic. Admittedly, most of the hate doesn't come from the mindless rants, specifically for topics like Coppa, though he does get a lot of flack for them. Most of the worst was shown in those screenshots of Dom's rant, which in those cases is justifiable. But as expected, there's a few things where I feel the reaction was a bit too extreme. Apparently Jay scratched his mom once, but I can't really care about it since I'm not a slave to obedience and it really isn't a big deal at the end of the day. Yeah, Jay shouldn't have done that, but it's none of my business. Plus, all the spamming about needing to get a screen recorder, it can be somewhat condescending or excessive. Really all he needs is a video editor to cut out the negative space. But look, every infamous figure gets its share of scumbag haters and A-logs. It's unwritten law by this point. And it doesn't exactly matter how bad the criticism is if the target is an easy one to have their buttons pushed. Now I do not stand by the harassment and toxic spamming some are willing to do just to fan the flames further. I can't respect them if their only motivation is to berate the guy. With that said, Jay really isn't helping matters himself. If many of his recent uploads and community posts have been literal whining about negative feedback, it shouldn't surprise anyone that this activity will continue and gradually get worse. Not even a no commentaries allowed notice over removal of comments will change this. Sure, those guys may be dicks, but it shows more how ill-equipped you are to handle negativity on the web. This is a point that's been beaten to death by other Go commentators, but to their credit they are correct for a change. That's not all to be said about Jay's antics. Insecurity is common in these spaces, but it's even more depressing if you have to use your cast of coping characters to try and protect other characters you seem to like that get grounded for stupid reasons.
Oh my god, Dora, are you okay?
No. I'm not okay. I got grounded by my mom for wearing a bikini to school. And she even said that I'm too young to wear a bikini.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear about that. And by the way, age doesn't matter when you wear a bikini. You can actually be 7 to wear a bikini. Anyways, can I take you to Subway to cheer you up?
Yes. I would love that.
Man, you sure own them. I can't even wrap my head around this. Could you imagine if you saw something that was like, oh, I don't know, a lowercase h getting grounded for saying the wrongest opinion you can dare to have?
No pet alien.
H. How dare you say no pet alien? You are now my most hated letter of our alphabet. Tatters, and you are grounded forever.
And then after being appalled by it, you just make
Lowercase h, you are very nice to me and you are very good and I will never support bad user ever again. I love you forever and ever and ever. Please, kiss.
Look, I'll be real with you on this. It doesn't matter how idiotic grounded vids can get. If this is your gut instinct after seeing one which bothers you, you shouldn't even be watching them, period. It's not like you get much mileage from commentating on them anyway. Oh, can I just comment on how fanboyish those screams are?
Stop calling me JJ! Go use the trampoline right now! No! Stop it! No!
Someone forgot to take a chill pill. I think that paints a picture on how sensitive he is to whatever shade gets thrown at him, which makes it all the more hilarious when he punches down even harder and actively threatens various creators. He has gone on record to either wish for the death of channels or users he hates, or even pulling a Vadi by saying he'll bully them back. Sure, it's weak and pathetic as hell, but it's indefensible. Overall, he just sounds like nothing but trouble to be around, and I'm not surprised one bit that even the seediest members cut ties with him. See? I told you he was hell incarnate! Now, can we please move on from this threat to my mental security? I don't think I can handle much more. Yeah, Jay, I should. Better yet, I think I should just wrap the video up now. Not only to help you calm down, but also because I'm just exhausted by how much I've covered. I need a damn break. Thanks, Bracket. You're the best. You're too kind. Anyways, it's a shame that plenty of the material I saved wasn't covered for this installment. I just didn't have enough motivational juice left in me, and I wanted to get at least one more video out for 2021. It's been far too long of a gap. Perhaps next year I'll cover the remaining videos in a volume 2 of sorts. That is whenever my creative drive comes back and I'm out of ideas. As a concluding statement, never underestimate what you might get from one of these repurposed rant styles. It may be a sweatshop with little heart, but the imperfections can be unique or at least memorable. Truthfully, the template isn't even bad on principle, it's just poorly utilized by most. I would like to thank all of those who have stuck around to the very end. If you like this and are interested in my future content, please make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to get notified. Be sure to also check out my community tab for occasional updates on upcoming videos. For those interested in my art, easy access to my gallery can be found on DeviantArt and Newgrounds. Check out my Twitter if you're interested in whatever stupid thoughts I have to say, along with the things previously mentioned. And for those who have an account on Pillowfort, please be sure to follow me there too. See you all again in approximately 5 to 6 months. Gumpers forbid I slack off even longer. Have a good day, y'all.